Hey, what's up, everybody? Jay Pounds here. We got another weekly video for you. We're going to be touching on some more rebuild stuff this week, and as I was doing this, I got to thinking, contenders are part of the rebuilding process too. It goes in stages. Really bad, then you start getting close, and then you make a couple trades and you take off. So I think next week I'm going to do a kind of a contender video. Like guys that's not going to break the bank that I think you should be trading for going into the year, to kind of just bolster your roster a little bit. Maybe something like that. Obviously, that's not going to be the name of it or anything, but that's just kind of a general sense. If you guys want me to do that, maybe let me know on Twitter. Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. It'll help Dynasty Owner out a ton. It'll make me extremely happy. I love when I see, some likes and some views and some couple comments on there. It just brightens my day. So I appreciate those of you that do that. And please continue to. It really helps out the channel. Um, if you happen to be a new user and you maybe you just stumbled across us, or you just made an account, maybe you're thinking about making an account, maybe you joined the league already and haven't drafted, whatever the situation there may be, make sure you guys read these articles, watch these videos, um, just kind of try to take it all in, do a lot of mock drafts. It will really really help. I really underestimated the strategy involved in Dynasty Owner when I first started, and now there's still things that surprise me. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't think about that before, or I'll see somebody talking about it on Twitter and I'm like, oh man, that's a really good idea. Why didn't I think about that? It's a learning process for all of us. So don't be shy. Don't be scared to ask questions. Don't be scared to do a little bit of research in these articles. Maybe you need to look back last year and see what some of the free agents look like going into the week 2 or something like that, so you kind of get a sense on who's rostered and who's not, or some of Steve's startup videos, or Matt the Jerk's rankings that he just did this past week, his top 10 wide receiver the week before he did the running back, and then Steve was doing stacks for the quarterbacks and tight ends 2 weeks ago, and then this past week he did the quarterbacks and wide receivers for teams. So make sure you guys are just kind of looking into those. It's going to help you. We try to cover all aspects of the platform for you guys, and from what I can tell, if I were a consumer, I would be, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job covering most of the aspects for you guys. Like we always say, if there's anything we're missing, if there's anything you guys want to see, please let us know. We always strive to give you guys what you want to see, and we'll continue to do that. But no more rambling from me. Like I said, if you guys are a new user, please just reach out. I'll gladly help. But without further ado, let's jump right into this week's video for you guys. I got the hateful 8.5 is what the title of the article is. If you really want a deep, I guess I didn't even put a deep meaning in there, but the meaning of the article, basically, I'm giving you the top free agents in the free agent auction right now that are less than 60% owned in Dynasty Owner. The reason I call it the hateful 8 is 8.5 is probably because most of these guys are going to be pretty boring. You guys are probably tired of hearing these guys, but they're really guys that I feel like you should have on the roster. And the reason I call it the hateful 8.5, the hateful 8 was boring. Most of these guys aren't going to make it on teams. Most of the guys in the movies didn't survive, so it just kind of fit. I don't know, it was on my head at the time, so that's what we went with. The half, you'll have to wait till the end to see the half. It's interesting to say the least. But nonetheless, let's get right into it. We got number one. These are in no particular order, guys. I don't think number one's going to be better than number 8, or eight's going to be better than 1. They're just kind of, do a little bit of research on the guy and pick the ones you can, because you're not going to be able to roster all of them. Number 1, we got Marquez Callaway, wide receiver, New Orleans Saints, 2 years, 765,000. He's 52.5% owned in Dynasty Owner. Callaway, he had 21 catches, 213 yards. I think I said that right. Well, let me look. Yep, 213 yards, and he only played in 11 games. Not eye-popping numbers, anything like that, but he's playing in a Sean Payton coached offense, which is always a positive thing. Um, that and the spot opposite of Michael Thomas is absolutely wide open. There is nobody that's locked into that spot. Yes, Traquan Smith is the favorite, but for Marquez Callaway right now to only be owned in half of Dynasty Owner leagues is unbelievable to me. As deep as our rosters are at 30 players per roster, that's just crazy to me. He should be rostered everywhere, especially with as wide open as the second and third wide receiver spots in New Orleans are. And they didn't draft anybody. Not anybody with significance, at least. I don't think they drafted a wide receiver until the 7th round. So definitely look into Marquez Callaway. I think he's got a shot to be decent this year, especially if Jameis Winston, the gunslinger, former #1 overall pick, starts. I think Sean Payton can fix his turnovers somewhat. He's not that risk it biscuit or no risk it no biscuit type coach like Bruce Arians is, and then get mad when Jameis Winston throws a bunch of picks. He's not Tom Brady. Yeah, he's a talented kid, but you just got to tailor your offense around him from what I've seen, and hope he doesn't make dumb throws. Lead him with some easy throws to begin the game, and just kind of get a nice run heavy game, which they have in Kamara. Let him dump the ball off quite a bit, and he's got the arm whenever you need him to make the throw. You just can't put him in position to make dumb plays, because he's gonna make the dumb play probably 2 times out of 10, and that's not very good. But anyway, Marquez Callaway is good talent. Definitely somebody I think you guys should look into. Like I said, at number 2 we have Trey McKitty. McKitty. How bad do you think he got picked on in high school? Holy cow! And then he probably beat him up afterwards because he's a professional football player now, and probably a big boy in college if he's a tight, or in high school if he's a tight end. But anyway, he plays for the Chargers, 4 years, $1.2 million, pretty much, 34% owned in Dynasty Owner. He had an underwhelming career. He had some bad quarterback play, and then he transferred to Georgia, and then COVID kind of had its effects, and he just didn't do much in college overall. But he's an athletic tight end. The Chargers took him in the 3rd round. That means they like him. That means he's going to get a solid chance at some point. Don't know when it'll be. It might not be this year, but I would bet he sees the field a good amount this year, because the only person really in front of him is Jared Cook. And Jared Cook hasn't been good for 2 years. He's caught touchdowns. That's the only reason he's been fantasy relevant. Don't believe me? Go look it up. But like I said, he's athletic. He doesn't block very well. He kind of reminds me of Noah Fant in a way. And I feel like I compare everybody that doesn't block to Noah Fant. But this kid's athletic. He can run decent routes. He doesn't separate as well as Noah Fant. He doesn't run as good of routes as Noah Fant. He's definitely going to have to learn how to do that. He's going to have to be taught how to do that. Or Justin Herbert's going to throw the kid open. One of those things need to happen. But either way, he's definitely worth a stash, especially at tight end. You're just going to have to be a little patient with him, guys. After that, we got Jalen Darden, Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver, 4 years, $1 million. He's 50% owned, and I don't think he's going to get much of a shot this season, just because of how loaded the wide receiver room is in Tampa with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, and then maybe you still got Tyler Johnson too, and then Jalen Darden. But next year it starts to clear up a little bit. I don't see AB back. Mike Evans might be gone. Chris Godwin's getting a new deal more than likely. I feel like he'll be back in Tampa. But it could lead to Jalen Darden starting to see the field. They invested a 4th-round pick in him. He plays on special teams, which means he's going to get a chance to show the coaching staff what he can do in games. In college, the kid was a playmaker. He finished second in the FBS with 19 touchdowns. He had 8.2 catches and 132 yards a game. That's not bad. Yeah, it wasn't a Power 5 school. He didn't play the best competition or anything like that, but he stood out. He could probably be a very solid slot receiver, and if if what I watched didn't lie to my eyes, I feel like he can be like a Julian Edelman, and the similarities are scary. They were both former quarterbacks. They both played for smaller schools. They're both Tom Brady's teammate at some point in time in their career now. And then there's one other thing that's on now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but they played quarterback and transferred to wide receiver, and I just think he could end up in the slot and hooking up with Tom Brady like Edelman was. Edelman's a borderline Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I believe he should get in just because of how integral of a part of a dynasty he was. I feel like most of those players that were very important should be in the Hall of Fame because they dominated the NFL for so long. But anyway, it's Jalen Darden. You definitely put him on the back end of your roster. You got to be patient with this kid. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of a roster spot. You're going to drop him for somebody during the season. This kid is for rebuilding owners only at this point. You're not going to get anything out of him this year, so don't pick him up expecting that. Don't expect production until 2022 from Jalen Darden. After Jalen Darden, we got Caleb Huntley. He's a running back for the Atlanta Falcons. He has a 3-year, $800,000 deal. He's 16% owned, and he plays in the most wide open running back room in the NFL. If there's going to be a James Robinson this year, I firmly believe it will be in the Atlanta backfield. Not because Mike Davis is going to get cut or something like that, but because there's two solid undrafted free agents in the backfield, and Caleb Huntley and Javion Hawkins. And I firmly think one of them two could potentially beat out Mike Davis. Mike Davis is good, not great. He's been a journeyman his entire career. Yes, he had a good season last year, but he tailed off towards the end because his body just couldn't handle it because he's not used to it, in my opinion. Do I think one of these guys are going to beat him out? No, it's unlikely, but it definitely could happen. And like I said, I feel like if it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to be in Atlanta. Their running back room is by far, in my opinion, the worst in the NFL. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one worse right now, but it's wide open, guys. Caleb Huntley had great college production. 576 carries, 2,900 yards, 21 touchdowns at Ball State. Again, a small school, just like Jalen Darden, but they gotta play against who's put on the field again. Who's put on the field to play against them. They have no choice. He just maybe wasn't highly recruited. I don't know. He didn't play a whole lot his senior year, and I feel like that hurt his draft stock. COVID happened. He had a little injury. It wasn't nothing serious, but all that combined, it just kind of hurt him, and it ended up actually probably helping him because he went to the best possible spot he could. The kid's a bruiser. He can catch the ball. He's not gonna be Aaron Jones type or anything. He's probably gonna be like a Derrick Henry, but from what I've seen, he does have a little bit of hands. That's all I got on Caleb Huntley. Let's move on. We got Ian Book, quarterback, New Orleans Saints, 4 years, $1 million. He is 51% owned. Again, this is another guy. You're going to have to wait for him. He's in a Sean Payton offense. He's got Winston and Hill in front of him right now. Hill has a contract that the Saints can get out whenever they want to, pretty much. Winston's only signed for 1 year. So realistically, I guess he could be starting next year. Is it likely a 4th-round pick's going to make it and be a starter year 2? No. Dak Prescott's the only one that comes to mind right now that a 4th-rounder that just came out and tore it up. Can he possibly? Sure, if you want to believe in miracles, I guess. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a miracle, but it's going to be tough to do. It's very unlikely, and I feel like maybe going into next year, he's a backup, and you can trade him for a 2nd-round pick. That would probably be a pretty solid scenario right now if you just pick him up in free agency. I'd be happy with that as a rebuilding owner. I got a 2nd-round pick just to keep somebody on my bench for a year. Cool. Why not take it? Why not give him a shot? He had a great great 2019 at Notre Dame. I didn't write the stat down. It's in the article if you want to see it, but I believe it was 30 touchdowns for 6 interceptions, had just over 3,000 yards, something like that. He played in the college football playoff twice, so the kid knows how to win games. And then you pair that with Sean Payton, and you never know what can happen. He is an underrated athlete. He's no Taysom Hill as far as a runner, but he's better passing. So I'm interested to see, what Sean Payton can do with him. He's definitely worth a stash for rebuilding owners. I highly recommend, if you got maybe one or two quarterbacks on your roster and nobody on your practice squad, or one quarterback on your practice squad, I would highly recommend picking up Ian Book. Like I said, he's not going to do anything this year for you, but next year he could start a few games. Who knows? In the NFL, you never know anything. This kid could be a full-blown starter by next year. But then again, so could Tim Tebow. Um, it just depends. Up next, we got Jarrett Patterson, running back, Washington football team. 3 years, 800,000, 56% owned. I talked about him as well as Caleb Huntley a few weeks back, but you kind of want to load up on running backs right now. Go look at some mock drafts and see how ugly the running back position is. They're gone by like the middle of the third round. There's no one left. So you want to load up on these guys. I feel like Jarrett Patterson could end up as a handcuff to Antonio Gibson. He's a little smaller. He probably, the best comparison probably would be Darren Sproles, and that's giving him a lot of credit. But for the sake of comparisons, that's kind of who he reminds me of. He had a massive 8 touchdown performance in college that people remember forever. He was also an absolute workhorse. He's got a ton of work on his body. He had 636 carries for almost 4,000 yards and 52 touchdowns, and that was just in 2.5 seasons. So, as far as aging goes, he's probably not going to age very well. But running backs are most productive in their rookie and second seasons in the NFL. So, get them while they're hot, I guess. And from what I've heard, Antonio Gibson's toe isn't exactly right yet. So if that lingers into the season, Jarrett Patterson could end up being a tremendous value if you're just now picking him up. After Jarrett Patterson, we got Tyron Johnson, wide receiver, Los Angeles Chargers. 1 year, 697. What are my eyes seeing right now? 695,000. He's 53% owned. Tyron Johnson played very well in spurts last year, especially when Mike Allen. Wow, what am I thinking right now, guys? When Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both went out last year, Tyron Johnson played great. He had a couple solid games, and if Mike Williams is anything like we expect Mike Williams to be at this point, Tyron Johnson's got a chance to see the field. Yes, the Chargers picked up his 5th-year option in Mike Williams, but that doesn't mean he's guaranteed anything. Yeah, they're going to give him a shot, but if by week 7, week 8, he's not playing very well, Tyron Johnson could be in there catching touchdown passes left and right from Justin Herbert. He caught 3 of them last year, so he can definitely do it. Came off the practice squad. He was a bit of a surprise, but definitely worth a stash in your on your rebuilding team. He is a little bit older. I believe he's 24 or 25. So, if he comes out and starts hot, try to get like a second rounder for him. And if you're in the early stages of a rebuild, if you're getting ready to start contending, maybe you can keep him, because I can see him being valuable again in 2022 if he plays well in 2021. But you never know in the NFL. Like I said, the Chargers could have some CeeDee Lamb type player fall in their laps like the Cowboys did, and bye Tyron Johnson. So if he starts hot, I would probably say go ahead and try to get like a second round pick out of him. I highly doubt he'll play well enough for you to get a first, but if you can get a second or a third out of him, go ahead and do that, and then use those as throw-ins on other trades. That's what I love to do with these types of guys. I call it an accumulation of throw-ins, basically. The more second and third round picks you have, the better you can make trades look in the end. How often do you take somebody in the late second, early or late third or late second, and they work out. It's very rare, very, very rare. So it doesn't necessarily hurt you to trade those away when you're trading. If it means the difference between you getting a young stud receiver on your roster or not having one for a second round pick, just give them the second round pick. If you feel like that second round pick is going to be in the top 4 or 5, then no, give them a third. But if it's going to be a late second round pick, maybe you got another owners. If you're a rebuilding owner, it's going to be an early pick, but maybe you have a couple other picks. Give them one of the late ones and leave it at that. But next up, the final of the 8, and then we'll show you guys what the half is. We got Frank Darby, wide receiver, Atlanta Falcons. You guys, if you notice a pattern here, there's a couple Saints, a couple Chargers, and a couple Atlanta Falcons. They have, in my opinion, some of the not necessarily weaker rooms all around, but weaker depth, I guess. And that kind of just opens things up for other players. And Frank Darby, I forgot to mention his contract, 4 years, 900,000, 37% owned. But when Julio Jones was traded, it opened up a big spot because they're going to do two things with Russell Gage. Either Russell Gage is going to get a huge promotion and he's going to play opposite of Calvin Ridley, or he's going to go back to his normal Russell Gage role like you've seen when, Julio, Ridley, and Austin Hooper or Hayden Hurst was on the field. And then you kind of just seen Gage strictly in a backup role. So you'll see that potentially again with Gage, where he goes back to kind of his backup role and maybe Darby shines, or, maybe the Falcons aren't done yet. But as far as what the Falcons did, I just don't think they're sold on Gage, because why are they drafting another receiver in the 6th round? Why are they drafting Kyle Pitts 4 overall? When you got Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley already, and you had Julio Jones at that point. Obviously, they probably knew they were going to trade him, but I don't know. I feel like they should have took a quarterback still. I love Kyle Pitts, but that team is just not in a position to win right now, so why take Kyle Pitts? But that's basically all we got for the big 8, guys. Let me give you the last half a player here. Tim Tebow, tight end, Jacksonville, 1 year, 920,000. He's 22% owned. Guys, don't pick Tim Tebow up. He'll be lucky to make the team. If he does, it's because Urban Meyer loves him. But you're never going to be able to put him on your bench and be confident he's going to get a decent score. He might get a couple plays around the goal line throughout the year if he makes the team. But other than that, I don't see it. He's 30-something years old trying to transfer to tight end, and we see kids that have been playing tight end their entire lives, like TJ Hawkinson, struggle when they come into the league, and people are just expecting Tim Tebow to do it. I love Tim Tebow as a person. He's a good dude. At least he seems like a good dude. But as far as putting him on your rosters, especially as a rebuilding owner, the dude's 30-something years old. If you're putting him on your rebuilding roster, you're hoping and praying that he scores a touchdown and you get a 3rd round pick out of him at this point. Don't waste the roster spot, especially if you're rebuilding. Use that on somebody like one of these guys I just mentioned above. Obviously you're not going to have all 8 of these guys on your roster, but that doesn't mean you need to have Tim Tebow. If you got Tim Tebow, drop him for one of these other 8. I promise you one of these other 8 are going to give you a better shot at playing and producing than Tim Tebow. And like I said, if Tim Tebow does anything, it's because Urban Meyer loves him. But guys, that's all I got for you this week. Like I said earlier, please like and subscribe to the video. I would greatly appreciate it. If we start getting a bunch of likes and stuff, maybe I'll do some giveaways. So there's an incentive, guys. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out next week. Let's say 50 likes and 200 views, and I'll do a giveaway of something, maybe a Dynasty Owner shirt or something. I'm sure Tim wouldn't mind that if we were to hit 50 likes and 150 views. And that would probably go for any of the videos, honestly. Maybe the first video out of mine, Steven and the Jerks, no matter whose video it is, whichever one gets that, maybe we'll do a little giveaway for a Dynasty Owner shirt or something. Just to kind of let's get some more eyes on Dynasty Owner, guys. We're not necessarily struggling at all for players, but I want to help grow this game. I want to see Dynasty Owner succeed. I I want to tell you guys a little story before I end this here. I was just like you guys playing Dynasty Owner. I sent Tim, I believe it was, a message. It was either Tim or Don, a message, and was like, I love this platform. I am very, very interested in working for you guys. It's one of my dream jobs to do. I had done a little bit of it, and they got back with me, and they're like, yeah, sure. Let's do a couple test articles here, and then I started, working for them. So I'm not biased at all, in my opinion. In my opinion, I fell in love with this game, and then now I'm just trying to spread the love to you guys, and to anybody that wants to watch these videos or to play Dynasty Owner. I firmly believe in this platform. I firmly believe it's going to bring good things to the fantasy football community. I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think everybody should give it a chance before you don't think it's for you, because I never was interested in a salary cap league. And then the thing that really caught me, it said, be like a real GM. And I was like, you know what? I got to give this a shot to see what it is. And as I started mock drafting and going, I fell in love with it to the point that I wanted to work with these guys. And I'm just so happy that they allow me. And I just wanted to tell you guys that, because I don't want you to just think I'm trying to shove Dynasty Owner down your throats on Twitter or anything like that because I write articles for them and work with them. I'm doing that because I truly, truly, truly like the platform, and I really enjoy playing it. I've had a lot of fun. The first league I ever joined has been one of my favorite leagues I've ever played as far as fantasy football goes. Even with my home league, I love that league. We're always talking and trading. It's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get in a couple more and play in a couple more leagues with some of you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next week. Have a good one.